Hello everybody, it is I, your favorite VTuber Android Arrowhead, and I'm back with more Ace Attorney 4, aka Apollo Justice, aka Chapter 4, I want to say, out of 5, or I don't think there was a 5th chapter, but either way. So, we were in a trial to determine that the guy who was murdered was a painting forger, and we're also questioning this fine specimen of person who apparently has very sweaty armpits when they lie. Took us a while to figure that one out last time. But anyway, yeah. This is where we cut off last time because I accidentally loaded the save from way earlier, as in a different chapter earlier. So, yeah, now we're back here. Anyway. I think I need to maybe press him on all this stuff a little more, because I think we tried this a lot last time, but it didn't really work much. Let's try this, because I think that the whole thing about the letter being, the problem and the thing that might have poisoned him is true, but I don't know how to prove that. You're sure about that? Well, to be really, really precise, I was busy gobbling mint candies the whole time. Yeah, I don't remember reading this, so... One of those candies might have been Yet, at the time of the autopsy, no fresh fragrance of mint filled the room. What? Would that really persist through death? And no mint residue was found. Okay, there you go. It was a long shot anyway. Don't tell me you're still trying to prove this. Who thinks the victim ate, drank, or otherwise ingested something other than coffee? Well, Mr. Justice, if you have some proof... Okay, I think it might have been either the envelope or, like... I guess maybe a stamp. You also lick stamps, right? The possibility is there. I can feel it. Just maybe not prove it not yet. Possibility isn't going to cut it. Not now. Mr. Misham ingested that poison via a route other than that of coffee. Other than that coffee. Proof is possible. Here goes nothing. You do understand what we need, yeah? Proof, Air Forehead, not possibilities. Of course. And, Prosecutor Gavin, I hope you understand. I'm ready to give you that proof. What did you say? I have proof of the disappearing envelope. I saw him writing a letter, I did. Which was picked up by the mailman, I assume. Of course. Which means... that envelope had a stamp on it. A stamp? Oh, here we go. Yep. As we all know, stamps come with dried glue on the back. In order to use the glue, you have to wet it. By licking the stamp. That guy's physiology is just so weird. Fire Emblem heroes. No one worth talking to actually licks stamps in this day and age. Well, it's good that he's not worth talking to because he's dead. Even if you wanted to talk to him, you couldn't. Oh wow, that's the same joke, wow. He's dead after all. Okay, so he licked the stamp. But wait, how does that explain the atropine on the rim of the coffee mug? If he licked the back of a poisoned stamp, the poison would get on his tongue, yes? What would then happen if he put the coffee mug to his mouth? Those traces on the mug weren't the killer's doing, it's the other way around. Or it was the other way around. What? The coffee mug didn't poison Mr. Misham. Mr. Misham poisoned the coffee mug himself. By accident. Order! 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 But that doesn't... Does it? Recall, if you would. Atroquinine is a slow-acting poison, yes? The poison entered his body when he put the stamp on that envelope. But his time wasn't up until the very moment he touched his lips to that cup of joe. We doing calculations? What is this? You have something to add, Mr. Brushel? Uh-oh, his nose is picking up another scent. As I believe I mentioned earlier. Well, that's the thing, see? After he put his letter in that envelope, Mr. Misham sat there searching his desk drawer for something. Yes, a stamp. A so-called postage stamp, end quote. But you know, I don't seem to remember him ever finding one. Maybe he'd just run out? Incidentally, if you search the desk drawer at the scene of the crime, there were no stamps. Not a single one. That does pose a problem. How will you prove that the stamp was coated with poison? Actually, I'm glad no other stamps were found. It makes proving the stamp he used was poisoned possible. Good show, good show. You can't even prove there was a stamp at the scene in the first place. Well, let's hear what the defense has to say anyway. Where's your evidence that proves the existence of this poisoned stamp? And my evidence is, of course, this thing with a frame on it. Well, that certainly is a cute little frame. And by little, I mean really little. It was on the victim's desk, Your Honor. Quite empty, as you can see for yourself. I noticed that too during my inspection, so what? Apparently you weren't as observant as you should have been. You see, when you saw this frame, it was missing something quite important. Missing something? Yes. A pale bluish stain on the inside of the frame. Atroquinine residue. What? Why wasn't I told about this? Because our court system sucks. The frame is only 2 inches square. The face of the frame is even smaller. Maybe an inch wide at most. You aren't saying... Oh, but I am. Tell me, what fits in such a small frame? A commemorative stamp, perhaps? Order! 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 The poisoned stamp was in this frame? Impossible! Prosecutor Gavin, why would he put something like that on his desk? Don't tell me he had it there so he could commit suicide if the mood struck. You know, can I say something? I had a thought, see? What, Mr. Brushel? And please stop jittering around like that. The victim was a forger, right? There's a lot of money in that line of work. Forger forges friends, makes enemies too. End quote. So the poison stamp might have been a murder weapon aimed at him. You can't just air guitar your way out of this, Gavin. He's gonna try, though. Oh, rich. That's rich. If I was rich, I wouldn't be here. Leave the ridiculous flights of fancy to the Gavin's song lyrics, please. Finally, something we agree on. This stamp was a murder weapon? Nonsense. Murder is a simple business. Murder is a simple business. Who would go to such lengths? No one. Oh, I disagree. Come again? Recall, if you would, the victim's reclusive lifestyle. Drew Misham hid from the world. He avoided meetings. His only contact with the outside world was the mail. The mail? Now, if you wanted to kill someone you couldn't meet, but you knew read letters, a stamp would be the perfect weapon. Ridiculous! Here's your proof. I want proof! Show us evidence that this poisoned stamp was sent to him as a murder weapon. I might not have evidence per se, but things are finally starting to come together. What is it, Apollo? Your fists are trembling. I think I know what happened. I don't believe it, but I can see it. I think I know how Mr. Misham was killed. Well, fill us in, Mr. Justice. A certain piece of evidence points to the truth, Your Honor. I can show you how someone with the intent to kill Mr. Misham sent the stamp of death. Maybe for forgery? One with intent to kill. I don't think this is gonna be it. Or this. Maybe? Or maybe they sent it by mail? I can't present people, so I don't think it's his daughter. This. I'm not sure it's entirely clear to me what this proves, Mr. Justice. Was I wrong? Yup. Except the killer would be a judge and the victim you. Okay, yeah, I got a little fucked there. Yes, Your Honor. Let's think this one over again. Alright, someone with intent to kill. Is it this the envelope? The one from 7 years ago? Think about the text of the letter again. There were 2 pages in the envelope. This is page 1. And this is page 2. Oh, I should have just read the letter. Yeah. I want to draw your attention to one phrase in particular. Send in the enclosed envelope with the enclosed stamp within 3 days. The enclosed stamp, Your Honor. In other words, if I have this straight, the stamp, poison, on the stamp, lick, lick, gasp, end quote. Is that the title for the article you're gonna use? Now, what if he had done exactly as the letter asked? He would sign the document, put it in the envelope, and put the stamp on it, right? Then he would put it in his letterbox. 15 minutes wouldn't have elapsed between affixing the stamp and mailing the letter. But the clock started ticking, and when the time came, he drew his last breath. And the murder weapon would be taken away from the scene. Quite conveniently, thanks to the postal system. Maybe it was delivered by FedEx. We should still have 18 years before they actually deliver the thing. Such a splendid imagination you have, Herr Forehead. Let me confirm one thing with you, if I might. So, this poison stamp was inside the envelope from 7 years ago. Is that what you'd really have us believe? Really? Well, it is a little bit of a stretch, but there's a possibility. Yes, a very small possibility. How small, I wonder? A poison stamp in this envelope. A stamp that then became the murder weapon. How do you intend to prove this seeming coincidence? Well, it was 7 years ago and we don't even know who sent that letter. And your answer is silence. I see. Very well. I move to... It's not nice to pick on the Fräulein, Clavier. Oh, it's his brother? Ah. Why did she turn into his brother for a sec? Alright, well, we'll remember that for later. Emma! Well, like my Christoph Gavin impression? Did I sound like him? I don't know. There's no voice acting. Literally no way to know. Okay. Don't quit your day job. Don't you have a crime scene to be looking after, Fräulein Detective? Someone had to come dig you out of all the mess, dig you all out of the mess you're making of this case. Mess? You know, none of this would happen if you just trusted in science a little more. You can find out that if a stamp was in that envelope, easy. Care to explain yourself, Fräulein Detective? Glare at me all you want, but science is on my side. It's all in the residue, right? That's right! The poison detection spray! Produce the red envelope at once! You can open it on the authority of the court. Opening someone else's mail, though? Oh! Well, would you look at that? No mistaking it. That's atroquinine residue. I don't believe it. A murder weapon from the past. Now, 7 years later, it bears its fangs at last. Objection! You are a poet and you didn't even know it. Absolutely outrageous. Tell me why. Ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why didn't this murder take place 7 years ago? Well, there's one possibility. Maybe Mr. Misham figured it out. Figured what out? He realized that the person who sent him that letter wanted him dead. So he sent his reply with a different stamp. And put his decisive evidence in a frame. Fuck, you're still here? How many witness stands do we have? Can I make a statement here on the record? I spark Razor Toothbrushel. What the hell is that name? I mean, I've heard of... Okay, Spark Brush I feel like is like a thing in Photoshop or something. I feel like I've heard that. Razor Brush, I'm not even sure if that's a real thing. Toothbrush is an actual kind of brush. I, Spark Razor Toothbrushel, claim this scoop is mine. Drew Misham killed in cold blood. By sender of 7-year-old letter. End quote. Again, work on your titles, dude. No, maybe something more succinct. Star falls after 7-year delay. End quote. How about a murder from 7 years in the past today? No, wait, that also kind of sucks. You know, this guy's right. It is a little harder than it looks. How about, bullet fired 7 years ago finds target? No, it's not a bullet, though. It's... You know, I'll leave it to him. Never mind. Maybe I've been too critical. Order! 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 I see no room for further argument here. Though I admit this is all coming as quite a shock. To think that the murder weapon reached his mouth after 7 years. Stamp his ticket straight to afterlife, end quote. Or victim's life stamped out from 7 years ago. That could be something. Uh-oh, I think the witness is a bad influence on our judge. Everything is a bad influence on our judge. I see no need for further debate on this matter. The sender of that letter 7 years ago could hardly have been our defendant. Apollo? I think we just won. Very well, this court finds the defendant and it's gonna get ruined. Yep. Is this the bright future of our legal system? Prosecutor Gavin? A ticket to the afterlife from 7 years ago? Tickets for Governor's shows are invalid after 2 weeks. But it doesn't make sense any other way. It boggles my mind that so many people have noticed this. There's a fatal contradiction in their forehead's claim. There is? A contradiction? A poison stamp was placed in this envelope 7 years ago. Correct? Bail upon it was framed until now. If that's the case, then why would Drew Misham have done what he did? Maybe it was suicide. Or, you know, suicide via somebody else murdering you. Wait, if you know someone's going to kill you, and you do it anyway, was that not technically suicide, in a manner of speaking? I guess on their end it would be, but not in terms of the actual person killing them. Whatever. Emma explained that. He must have realized he was poisoned. Therein lies the rub. Who's robbing what? 7 years ago, the forger drew Misham sensed the trap and puts a stamp in a frame. I do not debate this, but this begs the question. Why, 7 years later, did he use that stamp on the night of the murder? Surely you don't mean to suggest that Mr. Misham simply forgot. He put the murder weapon in a frame on his desk for 7 years and forgot? You expect us to believe he sprang the trap on himself? Hey, suck on these nuts. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? While I admit this is all quite shocking myself, it does seem highly unlikely that he would fall afoul of a trap that had been sitting on his desk for 7 years. Apollo, I don't think we're winning anymore. Ah, I'm glad to see we're all back in the real world now. Welcome back to reality. We've been waiting for you. I feel like Gavin's acting differently this case. Like he's more on edge, I guess? Aggressive? Something's wrong. Okay, then how do you explain the poison stamp that was in this envelope? The poison stamp? What exactly is this poison stamp again? Have you brought it to court for us? I see no proof that such a thing ever existed. That such a thing ever existed. What about the atroquinine residue, huh? Oh, I agree, that does seem to be atroquinine residue. But, her forehead, it's certainly no stamp. Yeah, but even if your precious poisoned stamp did exist, Drew Misham never would have used it. That is all. Urgh. I believe we've come to a conclusion. Again. Apollo, we were wrong the whole time? I can't believe it. The poison traces match up. It can't be a coincidence. Or it can't be coincidence. I'd like to bring some closure to this issue sometime this year. Too bad, we're probably gonna finish this next year. Mr. Justice? Yes, Your Honor? Let's review the facts and see where we stand. 7 years ago, Drew Misham received a red envelope. There were traces of poison atroquinine on the document inside that envelope. A similar trace was also found at the crime scene, on this tiny picture frame. The defense has indicated the possibility of a yellow envelope, an envelope that left the scene of the crime with the poison stamp on it. Yes, but even if this envelope contained a poisoned stamp, and Drew Misham, knowing this, put it in a frame, he never would have used that stamp. I'm afraid you're right. Which means there is a fatal flaw in the defense's case. I haven't been on the wrong track this whole time, I'm sure of it. The traces of atroquinine, the envelope, the frame, and Drew Misham's mysterious death. They're all connected somehow. Well, Mr. Justice, do you have a conclusion for us? The defense stands by its case, Your Honor. We've seen that the logical outcome of the evidence makes no sense, which means that one of our clues must be a fake. Ah, a fake clue. Fascinating. And if we find this fake, your wild fantasies will prove quite reasonable, yeah? Fake clue that's thrown us off the poison's trail is none other than... Let's go with Drew Misham. The victim was a fake clue? I'm afraid I don't understand. I'll explain. We have an envelope, a frame, and a mug, linked by poison. That all makes sense. What doesn't make sense is the victim himself. Congratulations, you've completely lost me. So the fake evidence is none other than the master of fake himself, the forger? It makes a good story, I'll give you that. A fake clue. Fakes? Forgeries? Ah! I know that face. That's the I just had an idea face. It's better than your ultimate despair face where you just fall to ruin. I don't know if I'm right, but I'm going with it anyway. Essentially, that's how I play the game. What if our forger is the fake? Come again. 7 years ago, our forger sniffed a trap and stepped aside. 7 years passed. Now the forger stumbles into that very same trap and dies. Why? That's what I want to know. Because the forger who was killed was a fake. Here we are again. The victim was a fake. One forger smelled the trap. One forger fell into the trap. That's 2 forgers, and one of them was a fake. A fake forger, so they just were arguably either very good or very bad at their job. Order! 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 So you're telling us that Drew Misham, the victim, was a fake? Well, if he was the fake, who was the real forger? His daughter. You'd better not be claiming there was some kind of switcheroo. I'm afraid you're going to have to back up your story. Mr. Justice, show us just who the real Drew Misham was. If Drew Misham wasn't the real forger, there's only one other person who could have been. Understood, Your Honor. Forger Drew Misham was himself a forgery. The real forger was probably his daughter, if I had to guess. There could only be one explanation, really. The real identity of the forger known as Drew Misham is none other than his only daughter, Vera Misham. There are UK law cases that are funny. Oh yeah? Really? Like what? It sounded kind of confrontational, but I am interested in what you're talking about. Order! 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 Mr. Justice! This is going out on a limb even for you! I kinda agree. I mean, Vera? A forger? Let's consider it before you write it off entirely. If you look at the paintings in the studio, one fact becomes quite clear. Forgery had been taking place in that studio for quite some time. The forger wasn't caught in that trap 7 years ago. This can only mean that the one who was caught in the trap wasn't the forger. The Jaffa Cake lawsuit was funny. Oh yeah, I think I've heard of that. Is that the one where, yeah, just arguing if Jaffa Cakes were cakes not to pay biscuit tax. Okay, yeah, I think I've heard of that one. That one's really good. Oh man, I like the, technicality cases like that. The ones where it's like, this is ridiculous and doesn't make any much sense, but, it's very funny to listen to. Well, actually, that does make a certain kind of sense. One more thing. Only 2 sets of fingerprints were found in the forger's studio. Drew Misham's and Vera Misham's. If we knew that Drew Misham wasn't the forger, that leaves only one possibility by process of elimination. The forger was Vera Misham. Well, it was a similar thing with Pringles being crisps that they lost that one. Well, I mean, they're crisps or chips or whatever you call them. I think that's pretty clear. Jaffa Cakes bringing a massive... Oh yeah, they actually proved it was a cake by bringing a massive cake that was just a Jaffa Cake. That's an interesting way to do it. I would have... Honestly, I probably would have said they were cookies or biscuits, but like... I think it's interesting that they tried it like that. Fascinating! Vera Misham, you've been paying attention to the trial so far. Let's just ask her and be done with it, shall we? Who are you? Who is the forger Drew Misham? Is that an expression of emotion I saw on her face? She's staring holes in the prosecutor Gavin's face. DPP versus Cheeseman is another good case. I hope it sounds as fun as... I hope it is as fun as it sounds. That sounds pretty funny. Cheeseman. I'm used to being stared at by Fräuleins, believe me. So they usually talk to me too. Tell us, were you the one who forged those works of art? Yes. So the forger, Drew Misham, was you? Yes, it was me. What? What? Is she wearing shoes or her socks just like... Huh. The court was in an uproar and it wasn't coming down. We had to break for a 10-minute recess. Okay, so basically, it was about a man doing certain things in public bathroom, and the police called him in the act several times, but they couldn't charge him because he wasn't a passenger. His second name was also literally Cheeseman. Interesting. I don't think we really need to save. We're already, like, right here. October 8th, 1:24 p.m. District Court Defendant Lobby number 6. Okay. So where exactly does this leave us, Apollo? Well, the Drew Misham who was killed wasn't Drew Misham the forger, basically. Huh? Well then, who was he? Well, he was actually... doing her nails. So you really made those forgeries? Also, her nails don't appear to be very, like, naily compared to, like, you'd think how she's, like, constantly doing nail polish and whatnot. Yes. Her father. I know it was wrong. Could you tell us how it happened? My father was a painter. I loved painting ever since I was a child. One day, Father saw it in me. He saw that I had the talent. The talent for making forgeries? Or should I say it, it was not only paintings I made. Given the materials, I could make anything. The ultimate forger. Anything? Father was so proud and I so happy. But in the end, I was making those forgeries. I've never had a good constitution, nor personality. I know very little of the world outside my door. Now, because of me, Father is... Do you know about this red envelope? I remember that envelope. It was some time ago. So you were already, You were already creating your works back then?
I started when I was only 12 years old.
Somehow I'm getting tired earlier today. I need to sleep more than I do. Alright. So the one who figured out that the stamp was poisoned was... Mr. Justice, it's time! To the courtroom, please.
Right.
Out of time.
Wait, Vera, just one more thing, please. Those 3 paintings in the studio. I painted those as part of my work. Right. See, we checked them out and saw what was underneath. We saw rough sketches underneath the 3 finished paintings. I see. Mr. Justice.
Yes?
Father, he knew of you. Of both of you.
Your late father?
He was watching, gathering information. All about the Wright & Co. law offices. But lately, we're not doing just law. Yes, you do tricks, gags to amuse, and play piano. Well, they're not really gags. Yet when Father heard you had resumed the legal business... How pleased he was. He was. Who was Mr. Misham?
How am I supposed to know?
What if he was Daddy's daddy?
Judging from the relative ages involved, I'd say it's highly unlikely. Things are already confusing enough with all these daddies running around. That should be like a yearbook quote. Things are already confusing enough with all these daddies running around. We know that the victim's daughter, Vera, was the forger. What does this mean for the case? Guess we're about to find out. October 8th, 1:36 p.m. District Court, Courtroom Number 3. Court is now back in session. Vera seems pretty tense. She's practically chewing her fingernails clean off. Well, good, she's got the nail polish. She can fix them again, I think. I actually don't know how nails work in that regard. Okay. Perhaps you could begin by telling us how it all worked. How did you set up this Drew Misham forger persona? There's that stare again. She's drilling more she's drilling more holes into his head.
I know it's hard for you, but hey, he's a handsome guy.
What's hard? Very well, miss, if you would. Did you really make those detestable forgeries? Perhaps you'd rather answer my question? Were you the one who painted that painting? The remarkably similar one?
Yes. I painted it, yes. Father praised me quite highly for it.
So, she was the one who made the forgeries. Yet she did not wish to reveal the truth of their operation. So the victim was a stand-in, a decoy. To the world at large, he was the forger, not her.
I've done a bad thing. I have, haven't I?
Okay. Regardless, we need a little more information. About, for instance, this. You have seen this before, yeah?
Yes, it was in the desk drawer.
Very well, you may proceed with your testimony. Tell us everything you know about this envelope. Witness testimony, the red envelope.
I created things and Father sold them. This envelope came after my first work. That was other than a painting. Father handled the deal. All of it. I received the stamp that was in that envelope. It was after that job that we moved to the current studio.
There certainly was much of great interest in your testimony. Not that the witness realizes it. Very well, please begin the cross-examination. Right. Okay. I need more information about this forger. This Drew Misham. Is he even real? What does she mean other than a painting? Like a sculpture? By other than a painting, you mean... You'd only done paintings up to that point?
Yes. But Father had a realization.
For instance?
For instance, a letter someone had written. Or a fingerprint left upon a cup. Or a signature on a document. Seal on a letter.
None of this makes her sound very innocent at all. And then the $100,000 promised in this letter was the start. The beginning of a new industry for Drew Misham. Just go somewhere with lower cost of living and find, like, the same job, you know? You'll be fine. Money-wise, I mean. A new industry? The creation of items to be used in chemical proceedings. Forging evidence, in other words. Uh-oh.
How's I handled the deal, all of it.
Alright.
I received the stamp that wasn't in the envelope. Or that was in the envelope. Let's see.
Just after that job that we moved to the current studio, so I've done 2, this could be 5. In terms of, like, which ones I do to press her. Let's see. You mean you moved to where the current Drew studio is?
Yes. We saw very few people there. I began drawing picture books.
This single job had tied them to the criminal underworld. I think Mr. Misham wished to reduce their visibility in the world at large.
When we had to meet someone for some reason, Father posed as the creator of the work.
So that was the real essence of the artist Drew Misham. You did the work and he supplied the face. The red envelope came after she'd completed her first. That makes it easier. It makes it a letter from her client, whoever wanted the forgery made.
Apollo?
We're close. We just have to piece together the remaining parts. A deadly weapon in the red envelope. And the path it took to take Drew Misham's life.
I created things and Father sold.
Okay, yeah, so I don't think we're gonna get any new things from this, but so these things you were making, you mean paintings identical to other paintings, right?
That's the closer they were, the happier Father was. I was happy too.
Still, you're quite young now. When did you begin this work?
My first painting sold when I was 12.
Wow, damn! Good job. Your Honor, she had no idea what she was doing was illegal. Easy there, little attorney. You're not here to defend her for the crime of forgery. True. Please tell us more about this envelope. This envelope that may very well have killed your father. Already examined the second one. Wait, hold on. No, let's press the other one. I pressed the wrong button. Alright. So you didn't know how the things you were making were being used? You can just say no.
I enjoy painting very much.
I think I quite understand. The Fräulein has lived in an unusual little world. Can you tell us what happened to the papers that were in this envelope?
Father signed them and sent them back, I believe.
Did he follow the instructions? Send in the enclosed envelope with the enclosed stamp. Why am I tired? What drains my strength? Or lack thereof. This is a rather important matter. Give your answer some thought. What do you mean you received it?
Did I do something wrong?
You didn't use that stamp because it was dangerous, correct? Deadly poison! On the back! Atroquinine! A moment there, forehead. You can't force an answer upon the witness. Now then, perhaps you would tell me, Fräulein Vera. Perhaps you would tell me, Fräulein Vera. Why did you receive this stamp? He just doesn't like talking to him. Is something wrong?
It was beautiful.
Ah, you meant it was one of those commemorative stamps?
Yes, I think it was.
So you didn't know about the poison? I guess not. So the trap set failed by chance, by mistake, thanks to this commemorative stamp. Quite a close call. Man, I was doing just fine before this stream. Why am I suddenly so tired? What led to this? So, you really didn't know anything, did you? You had no idea how much danger you were in.
I know now.
Apparently not.
About this commemorative stamp. Could you tell us more about it? It was very pretty, and more than that.
Yes?
It was a picture of people I liked at the time.
That is something new. I think I already said that, but I'm not entirely sure because my brain is slowly shutting down. Apparently, we've got some cross-examination yet ahead of us. If you would be so kind as to continue your testimony, Fräulein. How many pages does the thing have?
The stamp was a picture of my favorite magicians, so I kept it.
Like, so it's the magicians, in that case the Grammarys.
Magicians? I love mysterious things. I always have. Even though she fainted when she saw Mr. Hat?
You're confusing mysterious with freaky.
Father took me when I was very young. It was a great magic show. I loved it so much. See? See? Isn't magic great?
Fine, great. Yeah, sure. No need to get all excited. Fine, great. Yeah, sure. No need to get all excited.
But the magic troupe we saw disbanded soon after. It was quite sad.
Did she just say what I think she said? Magic troupe? Where have I heard that before? The red envelope came after she'd completed her first job. It makes it a letter from her client, whoever wanted the forgery made.
Apollo?
We're close. You just have to piece together the parts. A deadly weapon in the red envelope, and the path it took to take Drew Misham's life. I think the key is in the last little phrase there. Granted, I have no proof that this is it, and I have no way of knowing. There's a picture of her favorite magicians. Actually, wait. Just to make sure. Great things for father, and father sold them. I think we have to present something here. Favorite magicians. I think we might have to present this, because I can't imagine what else this would be. Oh, alright, I guess that was it. Whose magicians you liked? Was it this bunch? Okay.
Apollo, they're not a bunch.
I see. Still, I have to wonder, why include a commemorative stamp like that in a business letter? Good question.
Well, pretty stamps are always better, and you can't beat Troop Grammary.
But the whole murder plan was a failure because of it. Ironic, don't you think? Prosecutor Gavin? What's got him all keeled over? Maybe he's also tired. Grammary. What's with Gavin? Might I ask just one question of this witness? In your testimony just now, you stated this was your first work other than a painting. Please tell me, what exactly did you make?
I made a person into a dead person. Can I ask why?
No! Answer the question! Now!
Eek.
Prosecutor Gavin? You're usually not the one whose volume concerns me. Yes, it is unbecoming of me. I apologize. I must know. Please, Mr. Misham, tell me. Or Mrs. Misham.
It was a book. A single page in a book.
A book? Please be more specific.
It was a handwritten book. Like a diary.
No, I don't. No! I wonder if that's the forged piece of evidence that Phoenix used that got him disbarred. And Gavin now knows that his brother did it somehow.
What's wrong with Prosecutor Gavin? He looks like he just saw a ghost.
Miss Misham, this book. Was there a picture of a silk cat on the back cover? Yes or no?
How did you know?
Prosecutor Gavin, the defendant is answering all of your questions. Stop badgering her. Well, in order to stop badgering the witness from the defense's side. That's crazy. That's never happened before. He's told you nothing, has he? Your soiled, sullied mentor. Nothing? Sullied? Who? Phoenix Wright. Who else?
Daddy?
He never told you about the trial 7 years ago? About how he came to lose his attorney's badge? It was a certain piece of evidence that decided his fate, you know. A certain diary. On the back, it bore the mark of a silk cat. What? Phoenix Wright tossed out of the profession by false evidence, and the forger who made that evidence. Is this girl standing right in front of me? Vera, you must tell us. The evidence you made was used in a trial 7 years ago. Who asked Drew Misham, you, to forge that evidence? For all of our sakes, who was it? It would have to be Gavin's brother, right? Because Phoenix was getting revenge on him in the beginning. That's what he said.
We only met once.
You met the client? Well, who was it?
It was...
She's gone catatonic again.
What's going on with Vera? She's staring at Prosecutor Gavin's face again.
Yes, what? Is there something about me?
I remember clearly. I remember who gave me the book. Diary.
Who was it?
Joke.
Vera! Yep, this is the part we saw in the preview where she fell over.
Bill.
It was Clavier, definitely. Defendant Vera Misham. Condition: unconscious. Examiner's diagnosis: acute atroquinine poisoning. What? When did that happen? This ends the recording of the trial for the murder of Drew Misham. Vera Misham was, during the trial, poisoned by an unknown assailant. Dosage was just under the lethal amount, sparing the defendant's life. She's currently in intensive care and is not to be disturbed for any reason. A very simple case at first glance, until it finally begins to show its true colors. The long road to the truth takes us to the record of another trial. Hey, he's back in the suit. In some ways, that was the starting point of it all. Oh, and there's... You know, honestly, I kind of prefer that look for Gavin. And that is where we must go. Oh, little Trucy. To find the whole truth. You know, I've gotten kind of a second wind. I think I can keep going. And just to make sure. Yes. So the devil. Showdown time. Oh yeah, back to the card thing. Hey, a loss. It's only a game of poker. It's only a game of poker. Game I've played for a long time, and only lost twice. Who was the first? The man I killed, of course. Well, seems I found the partner I've been looking for all along. Over a game of cards? Why, yes. Over a game of cards. I can't really tell which one of them is supposed to be talking. For which line. That was how we first met. 7 years ago. 7 years earlier. Phoenix Wright's final trial. April 19th, 9:27 a.m. District Court Defendant Lobby number 2. Really quick, okay, so we have a crime scene photo. This guy was shot in the head with an old-timey pistol, and so was the doll next to him. And also there's a syringe. And that's the diary with the page torn out. And yep, single gunshot to the head, estimated time of death 11:30 p.m. Got it. Wait, malignant tumor found in the victim's liver. Oh, fuck. Terrible way to go. Ooh, okay. It's been a long time since I felt like such a rookie. I have to try and relax. Ah, good morning, Mr. Enigmar. I'm sorry to have sprung this on you so suddenly. I received the files from your previous attorney only yesterday. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure I'm prepared. I understand I'm asking the impossible of you. Yes, well, you haven't really told me what happened yet. All we did was play cards. And that was enough. Actually, it wasn't. Trust me. Hey!
Oh, morning, Daddy.
I'm so glad you came! So her real name is Enigmar. Huh. What if she's the Riddler?
You okay, Daddy? They picking on you?
Ha 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 ha! I'm fine, as always. This old boy here is to help me. This old boy is here to help me, after all. That's a young man to you. Good morning. That's a cute outfit you have on.
Thanks. My first show's today, after all.
Oh, I'm sure it is. What the heck is she talking about?
Old boy?
Huh? Me? Look at what he started. Well, let's switch tabs. Let's see. So we got Shady Enigmar. Wow. There's my stage name, Zach Grammar. Okay, so he's one of the Grammaries. But yeah, this guy is clearly evil in some way. And this is the guy that was killed.
Here.
It seems fate's clock will make me wait a little longer. At least only less than 10 swift minutes remain. For all those who have supported me in my life's work, I give thanks. Farewell! Magnifi Grammary. What's this?
I don't know. I just got it over there in the hall. They told me to give it to the old boy in the blue suit with the spiky hair. They said it was really important.
What's this? A memo for you or some such? Not from the looks of it. What is this? Looks like a page from someone's diary. I'll give it a read later. Add it to the court record. Well, how do you feel about the trial today? We'll get through it. Somehow. Incidentally, the prosecutor today is a new guy, I hear. Ah, an easy win then, yes? They're calling him a true thoroughbred in the history of prosecutor's office. In the history of the prosecutor's office. Okay, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Of course, there's one of those every year. The switching of attorneys just before the trial. I know it is a difficult situation I put you in. But allow me to say one thing, Mr. Wright. Yes? They will not be able to pronounce me guilty today. So do your best, but do not worry. First time a defendant's ever given me a pep speech. I'll do what I can. Ha 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 ha! I see you do not understand. You see, it will be impossible for them to declare a verdict. Impossible? Yes. Isn't that right, Trucy?
Yep, you bet, Daddy.
First look at the case was only yesterday. And the information I was given is a tad bit lacking, to be honest. Still, I'll do what I can, for their sake. I believe the curtains will be lifting any time now. I am in your capable hands, Mr. Wright. As I recall, I feel like this guy was the first guy murdered in the first case of the game, just by the look of him. That's why he might have had to lock it with Trucy. My client is Shady Enigmar, known to the world as Zach Gramarye, a wildly popular magician star of Troupe Gramarye. His mentor, Magnifi Gramarye, was a rare breed of magician. He single-handedly ushered in a golden age of stage magic, until he was shot dead. And Zach Gramarye is the suspect. Does he have a gun in his holster on, like, his hip? April 19th, 10 o'clock a.m., District Court, Courtroom number 7. Court is now in session for the trial of Shady Enigmar. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Is the prosecution ready? I was just thinking, is this what all the fuss is about? Bit of a buzzkill, really. Buzzkill? Is this some new kind of crime? One of the best. This is a trial, yeah? Where's the sweaty palms, the pounding hearts? A governor's concert got 10 times the thrill this gig's got. Who were you again? Flavia Gavin. I came to get the party started. Legally, huh? Gavin? Defense attorney Christoph Gavins. Ah, figures my bro's more famous in this part of town. Flavia Gavin. Lead singer for the mega hit band The Gaviners. You're out of your league, rock boy. I know what you're thinking. You're out of your league, rock boy. True, my debut single, 13 Years Hard Time for Love, went platinum overnight. But that's just a hobby to me compared to this, yeah? Talkative, aren't you? I like your affected Euro rock accent, by the way. I'm just getting warmed up, Attorney Wright. Perhaps you would be so kind as to fill us in on the case? Achtung, baby! Time to call in the opening act. What was his name again? Ah, yes, Detective Gumshoe, hit it! Hey! I miss him. And you are? Hey, you were the one who called me up here, sir. Name's Dick Gumshoe. I'm a homicide detective down at the precinct. Detective Gumshoe. Long time no see. Hey, you! Huh? Me? Today's the day, pal. Today I win and you lose. I got confidence in my testimony today, see? What, you normally lack confidence in your testimony? Detectives, this is my stage. Calm the antics. Eh? Oh, this hey-yoing and such. I could care less about your history together. Very well, Detective Gumshoe, if you would. Please tell us about the case at hand. It happened 6 days back in a room at the General Hospital. 6 days is kind of a long time for a trial in Ace Attorney. Usually they're like a day after the murder. Facts are as simple as they come. Here's the crime scene. The victim was a patient, asleep in a hospital bed. The killer comes in, puts a pistol to his forehead, and bam, lights out. Here's the facts. Not so long ago, the victim, Magnifi Grammary, was a famous man. He had the entire country under his magical spell, as it were. Ah, yes, the great magician. He retired years ago, though. Say the name Magnifi to one of my generation, and you'd be lucky to get a blank stare. Yes, though I'm sure the youngsters today know his disciples even better. I dare say Troop Grammary has made quite a name for themselves. Anyhow, the retired Magnifi's been in the hospital for the last year. What was it? A malignant tumor something. Doing something to his liver, I think. Yeah. A malignant tumor, perhaps? In other words, he had liver cancer. He had only 3 months left to live, in fact. Magnifi's chart added to the court record. The facts do seem simple enough, but something's not right. The victim was already climbing his 3-month stairway to heaven. Why not wait for him to knock on heaven's door? Why shoot him? I wouldn't have put it quite so lyrically, but it's true. Why make the effort to commit murder when the victim was about to die? Incidentally, the victim had a serious case of diabetes. That's what the insulin pouch is for. Okay. Diabetes? In fact, he was about to shoot off his insulin. That's what you can see with the syringe in the photo, yeah. When he was shot with a pistol, the syringe was found at the crime scene. Chronic diabetes and cancer. As much as it pains me to say it, the victim was clearly at the end of his life. Small syringe used for administering insulin shots has been washed and shows no sign of use. Okay, well, let's examine that really quick. Also, where's Maya during all this? I guess she could be back at the village, but no sign of use, huh? I always hated getting shots. I guess Magnifi was giving himself the insulin shots. There's no way I could do that. Wait. If Magnifi used this to inject his insulin, why are there no traces of it having been used? Something to keep in mind. I believe the question before us is clear, then. Why did the killer have to shoot this dying man? What reason could he have had? Very well, Detective. Perhaps you can enlighten us as to the circumstances of the shooting. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The circumstances. Actually, the victim kinda ordered the defendant to do him in. A few days before it happened, the victim sent a letter ordering his own murder. Ordering his own murder. The defendant did what was asked of him and shot the old man in the forehead. The bullet was fired from the pistol found at the scene, no doubt about it. And the pistol definitely belonged to the old man, sir. What? You're saying the victim ordered his own shooting? Those are the facts. I have here the letter in question. To my beloved student Zach, to you I entrust... Alright, well I'll read it now then, I guess. Wait, this was the page I have. And what's this? Come on the 13th, 11:05 p.m. I will ready a gun with which you will shoot. 1 shot, square in the forehead. You cannot refuse, and we both know the reason why. Very unusual indeed. Although, could such a thing as a letter really cause one to pull a trigger, I wonder? I believe the answer to that question can be found at the end of the letter. Ah, you cannot refuse, and we both know the reason why. Detective Gumshoe, can you explain this to the court? Unfortunately, even the defendant won't say a peep about that bit, sir. One thing bothers me about this. I will say, it's interesting how, Phoenix has clearly like a different like way of drawing the sprite from when the from when his trilogy was remastered. Like, it looks visibly different. Not in like a bad way, just like it's different. So they basically redrew this just for that instead of just using the other one. Why didn't he just say 11? Why haven't come at 11:05 without some specific reason? The devil is in the details, our attorney. Well, was there some reason? As it turns out, there was. Every night for half an hour, starting at 11 o'clock, the victim, Magnifi Grammary, was given an IV. An IV? That is in the picture, off to the side of the bed. At 11 o'clock, a doctor would come to set up the IV. 30 minutes later, he would come back for the empty bag. This happened every night without fail. So that was the only time they could meet without the chance of an untimely interruption. During his IV. Very well, shall we begin? Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you would. What's this reason he couldn't refuse, I wonder? You could have at least mentioned it to me. But yeah, like, the colors are different on both him and Gumshoe. Like, they're more faded, I guess? They're not as, like, vibrant and poppy. Order the defendant to do him in, yeah. Correct. For what happened, the victim sent a letter ordering his own murder. Question, how do we know it was... Let's check something really quick. Magnifi Grammary. Okay, so it's at least spelled properly. But is the handwriting the same? Looks like it. Huh. Got the old man in the forehead. The scene, no doubt about it. I guess let's just press starting from the beginning. Just because he got the letter doesn't mean he went through with it. Oh, I disagree. The victim was, indeed, shot in the forehead after all, just as he had commanded. It could be a setup. Let's not be in such a hurry. Maybe we should let the witness talk for a change. Thanks, pal. Fine. I can play it slow as well as I can play it fast. On with the testimony, Detective Gumshoe. A few days before it happened, the victim sent a letter ordering his own murder. Oh wait, I already read that, yeah. And this letter was sent by the victim? It is! Gotcha! You're all mine this time, pal! Huh? I had the handwriting checked out, of course. It's the victim's, no mistake. Ah, I see. Ah ha ha ha! Score one for the boys! I didn't lose, I was just ascertaining the facts. So why am I so annoyed? But a letter ordering your own death? Things aren't what they used to be, I guess. I'm not sure this is exactly commonplace even now, Your Honor. So anyway, I guess I'll keep going while I'm ahead. How can you be so sure? Hey, you gotta learn to stop relying on people to do your thinking for you, pal. Learn to think for yourself. Get that noggin cranking. You fail to grasp the concept of questioning, Detective. First, we got this letter. It says, shoot in the forehead loud and clear. I can see that, but I still wouldn't do it. Well, maybe you need to grow yourself a backbone, pal. You fail to grasp the concept of shooting people is bad, Detective. A cop thinking that shooting people is bad? You're asking for a lot there, Phoenix. That was a bit more political than I usually get, but hey, whatever. We also found the defendant's pistol at the scene. Traces of gunpowder residue shows that it had been fired recently. Well, Mr. Wright? As far as I can tell from looking at this photo, there seems to be no issue with the prosecution's claim. Photo. Maybe there's something in there I can use. So they're saying the defendant shot the victim in the forehead. I think there's a hole in the prosecution's argument. Clearly, Mr. Enigmar. You shot something else. Nope. There. Looking at this photo, another possibility occurs to me. Yes? What does the letter tell us? The defendant had a reason he couldn't refuse his teacher's wishes. Bingo, pal. That's why the defendant popped him one in the forehead. Oh, the defense disagrees. You see, the defendant had another choice he could make. What, and you can prove that with this photo? I can prove he had a choice, yes. The defendant might have fired like he was ordered, but he didn't shoot the victim's forehead. Well, let's hear what you're thinking, Mr. Wright. If he didn't shoot the victim's forehead, what did the defendant shoot? A clown doll? Take a closer look. See? It's been shot in the forehead, too. Ah, there's a hole in its forehead! Yes, and a hole in the prosecution's claim. Ha! And I suppose you have a reason as to why he'd shoot the clown doll? He didn't just shoot the doll. He shot the doll's forehead. His forehead? Ah! Let's read the orders once more, shall we? You will shoot one shot square in the forehead, which is exactly what he did. He shot the clown doll square in the forehead. The defense has raised an intriguing possibility. That hole in the clown's forehead, it definitely looks like it was shot. Bailiff, send someone to investigate this matter. I admit, I'm impressed, but I expected nothing less. Still, this doesn't mean he didn't shoot the victim. Perhaps he did have to shoot a forehead as was ordered. But the letter says nothing about whose forehead. This was the only way he had to follow his orders without taking a life. The bullet hole in the clown doll's forehead does demand an explanation. Might very well be a clue. Yet, Prosecutor Gavin is right. It alone does not prove the defendant's innocence. You cannot say for sure the defendant didn't shoot the victim. So sorry, Mr. Wright. How sad it is to see the mighty fall. How sad it is to see the novice's overconfidence. He doesn't realize just how big this little hole is going to get. Detective Gumshoe, please take this newfound fact into account as you continue your testimony. But didn't they say there's only one shot in the gun? From its low patient has chronic diabetes, requires regular insulin. Single shot to the head. Yep. Okay. This is also a single shot gun. I think it's a flintlock, right? Let me try that. Let me try presenting the photo. Nope, fucked up. Your Honor, what do you think about the witness's statement? Because I don't have the gun in the court record. Contradicts the, I thought... Yep, that's a classic Phoenix fuck up. Overruled. I'll be fine. I don't think that won me any points with the judge. Let me just press him. So let me get this straight. You're saying my client first shot the clown, then shot the victim. Hey, not a bad summary, pal. More of a confirmation than a summary, but whatever. That was really more of a confirmation than a summary. Yep, okay. But our defense attorney seems pleased enough with himself. These people ever miss a chance to mock me? Well, now that Mr. Wright's gotten that out of his system, shall we continue with the testimony? I didn't have time to gather all the details before coming in here. His testimony might be my only source of information. Better pay attention and read this letter carefully. Already did that. You mean this pistol, the one in the crime scene photo? It's the one! It's a funny looking gun, so there's no mistaking it. We compared the bullet taken from the victim's skull if it's a bullet fired from this gun. The rifling marks on the bullet were a perfect match. So you verified the murder weapon, in other words. You bet we did! Shouldn't it be in evidence then? Why are you so certain? What pile of sand has your head been stuck in all this time, pal? You ever heard of Zack and Val's quick draw shoot 'em? Huh? What's that? One of the defendant's specialties. So we've seen the one on the far left. The one on the far right is apparently Trucy's dad. And the one in the middle is the only one we haven't met yet. But we'll get to her later, I guess. Zack and Val stand on either side of a girl. Then they shoot. But the bullets don't hit her. Instead, they hit everything else on stage. This is one of the pistols they used in their show. Got a great design, huh? The kids love it. No, something super late. Don't worry about it, Lobs. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Many boys and girls joined the police because of that pistol, I hear. What? Why? You know, that would explain a lot about the police force. Group Grammy stopped doing that act a while ago. The old man held on to that pistol ever since. The court would like to see the pistol in question. Yeah, finally. You got it, sir. Here she is. Well, this is truly a blast from the past. It's a stage pistol for magic shows, see? But it can fire real bullets. Well, as most guns can, yes. It looks so much bigger than real life than on TV. Yeah, but it can only hold one round. By the way, the pistol's firing chamber is empty. And it shows traces of having been fired recently. So, were any fingerprints found on the gun? Unfortunately, no. Of course, the defendant is known for wearing gloves. We might say that the lack of fingerprints is, in fact, a fingerprint of its own. Oh yeah, so brief little description to bring you up to speed. The last trial wound up with the defendant fainting, and now we're flashing back to when Phoenix lost his law license. This is 7 years prior. Aha! Intriguing point! Well made! Whoa! Not well made, not intriguing! In any case, the court accepts this evidence. Okay, now we have the gun. Excellent. My grandchild will get a kick out of seeing this. But now it's time to return to our testimony. Also, this proves that he's grandchildren, which is interesting. There we go. If you only fired one shot, it wouldn't have been able to hit both of them. The trickiest cases often seem the simplest. Prosecutor Gavin, you missed the bullet hole in the clown's forehead. If you hadn't missed that, you might have come to a very different conclusion. Understand? Yeah, but like I just said, pal. After he shot the clown in the forehead, he went and... did nothing of the sort to the victim. The pistol proves he could not. The murder weapon? How? It's quite simple, Your Honor. This pistol only holds one bullet at a time. Ah! I think Gumshoe needs a better haircut. I don't know, I kinda like it. He's got like a scruffy vibe to him. If he had shot the clown in the forehead, he couldn't have shot the victim, too. Yeah. That's not a contradiction, not even close. It literally is. All you have to do is reload the pistol after the first shot. Oh? Where did he get the extra bullet? They're not so easy to come by, you know? If you claim the defendant had one ready, then prove to us how he got it. Phoenix came to play. Remember the time Krillin from Dragon Ball got hair? Oh, that's so weird. Right now, I can kind of see what you're talking about. Yeah, that makes sense now. I had a feeling this wasn't over yet. No. This party's just getting started. Alright, not Dante. This party's getting crazy. And I haven't proven anything yet, beyond my good looks and startling record sales. And utter lack of humility. Oh, what's this? It seems the prosecution has another witness prepared. Like I said, a detective, their detective was just a former fact. Ugh. Now that the audience has gotten a taste of what's to come, they're ready. Ready for what? Well, my decisive witness, of course. A witness who, you will find, can prove one thing for us. That it was Zach Gramery who shot the victim in the forehead. Very well. We will pause for a 15-minute recess. This might be my lucky break. I'll need that 15 minutes to talk to my client, Zach. Why is Clive wearing shades? Oh yeah, so this is like, 7 years prior, so I guess it's just a different outfit, but apparently this is around when he started doing prosecution, and so he's got like a cool leather jacket, shorter hair, and glasses. Which, to be fair, I think it's a cool outfit. Court is adjourned. A lot to be continued in the last little 2 hours, but I will... I'm confused. Is this the totally not real trial? Okay, so the trial we were having before is the totally not real one. Right now, this is a flashback to the one that happened 7 years prior that essentially kicked off that one. So basically, like, we're looking at this to figure out what's going on in the current one, essentially. Save. Save complete. No, continue. April 19th, 11:21 a.m. District Court Defendant Lobby Number 2. Very impressive, Mr. Wright. I have to say, I expected nothing less. We've only just begun. Also, again, is that a gun in his holster right there? What is that? On his right hip. Is that a... Whatever. We've only just begun. I was hoping you could tell me a bit more about what happened, actually. I did not think you would believe me if I told you. Better that you discover the truth for yourself. I was thinking of you, you know? I think we need less thinking and more talking. That night in the hospital, what really happened? We were just life is straining this shit, pretty much. It's rewind time. The way your eyes gleam, Mr. Wright. You'll scare Trucy. Speaking of which, where is she? By the way, this guy is Trucy's real dad, and I think he's also the guy who got murdered in the first case of the game. You've seen the problem yourself. The letter. The one shot in the forehead? One, right? Yes, and the reason he speaks of. I could not deny my mentor's wishes, even if it meant my own death. Why not? This is something I will not say. For now, at least. What's this for now business? I have done many things in my life. Some, well, some poorly. But this is a cross we must bear alone to our graves. We? You wanted to know about the night of the incident? Finally! This guy sure likes to take his time getting to the important stuff. Of course, I had no intention of shooting my mentor. I snuck into his room that night at the appointed time. So wait, Trucy got adopted by Piccoli Phoenix the same year her father died. That's the thing. I think technically... Alright, so here's my current theory, right? Yeah. Well, by the way, her father's name is Shady Enigmar, so there's a decent chance that this guy is the Riddler. This is the guy that died. And this is Clavier, and... Wait, 17?! As a lawyer? Huh. She was still 32. Apparently this is only a few months after the end of the third game. Okay, so here's my current thoughts on things. Trucy's dad was not declared dead, he was declared missing. The reason I think he is the guy who was killed in the first trial is because his facial hair looks similar, and also, he had a locket with Trucy's picture in it. So I think Phoenix adopted her a while ago when he disappeared, and only now we're finding out that he was actually dead for the last couple of months. And found there upon his bedside two pistols. two? Yes, the one I had used on stage, and the one that had been used by my partner, Valent.
Oh, for the Zack and Valent's quick draw thing.
My mentor had the look of one sleeping. I stood by his bedside, hearing only the light sound of his breathing. Then I took the pistol into my hand. I cannot deny that my resolve faltered then, for a moment.
You faltered? You mean you thought about shooting him? I mean, honestly, with how Trucy is allowed to take the stand alongside Apollo, I'm not surprised. Yeah, there's a lot of shit going on. I'm not entirely sure if that theory is correct, but we'll see, I guess, in the next little bit here.
Recall, there was a reason I could not refuse his request. His last such request, though not his first.
So, there were other requests you couldn't refuse before.
To be honest, I've not always been steadfast. And I fear I've brought pain upon Trucy.
Was Magnifi coercing his disciples somehow? Just what was going on in Troop Gramarye?
Yet, in the end, I did not shoot him. Instead, I turned and shot the clown. I took the pistol I had fired and placed it in my pocket.
In your pocket?
I believe if you examine the bullet in the clown's head, you will find it to be different than the one in my mentor. What were those things called? Bullets?
Rifling marks?
Yes. Well, that is all I have to tell you. Concerning the case.
Concerning the case? You mean there's something else you can tell me?
You are a fascinating man, Mr. Wright.
Thanks?
Yes, there is something. My mentor. His eyes opened.
What? Magnifi Gramarye?
The old devil. He was not asleep, you see. Of course, the gunshot would have woken him anyway. And there we had our last discussion as mentor and pupil. It was not a long discussion, maybe 5-10 minutes or so.
Also, Enigma is suspiciously close to racism. Yeah, roughly around the same level as Edward Nigma. Honestly, I don't know why they didn't just take off the R at the end. It's already close enough to, like, Shady Enigma. That's a thing. Since we can assume this takes place in the alternate universe of LA, I decided to look it up. Clavier is too young to become a lawyer since the minimum age to become a lawyer is LA's 18 to 20. So yeah, he definitely couldn't do it. Huh. What did you talk about?
Mr. Wright! Did I not just tell you? It does not concern this case.
Zack Gramarye. Seems pretty steadfast to me. Or maybe just stubborn.
Mr. Wright, your presence is requested in the courtroom. Once again, I am in your hands.
Right. Let's get back in there. April 19th, 11:37 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 7.
Court is now back in session.
During our recess, a bullet was found and dug in from the A bullet was found in and dug out from the clown's head.
Well, this is news. And the rifling marks?
There wasn't time to do a detailed analysis. So they did find the weapon type matches the murder weapon.
Well, that's not very conclusive, is it?
Which is why I'm about to call on my very decisive witness. Your decisive witness? How many times have I heard those words? Though they often turn out to be far less decisive than you think. I'm gonna start doing ID checks for these lawyers, man. Just also to see if they are actually lawyers. A lot of crazy people in this business. Oh, don't worry on my account. I'm quite confident this witness will do the job. After all, he is intimately acquainted with the players in our little production. Being the other half of Troop Gramarye's famous duo, Zack and Valent. Valent Gramarye. So we get to meet the great Magnifi's other disciple. That or every single character who took early law school courses and graduated hell early. Yeah, you know, they could be prodigies, I guess. Perhaps we'll start by asking your name and occupation.
Valiant Gramarye, magician. And you're the decisive witness, are you? You can prove your fellow student, your partner's guilt? Fate, the grand illusion, filled with traps and tricks. Wait, the shooting took place in that hospital after 11 o'clock at night. If you're a witness, does that mean you were there that late? There should be a mental stability test you should take before taking the stance as an attorney or prosecutor. I agree. If one were to deduce this logically, the conclusion is yes. Okay. I always get the characters, don't I? Well, yeah. I have an interesting fact for you. You see, several days before the crime, my witness receives this. That looks very familiar. Wait. That's the same letter Zach Gramarye received. Yes, or perhaps I should say, ta-da! Order! 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 And what does it say? Surely not the same thing. Perhaps you should see for yourself. Almost the same except for 1120. Why, it's practically the same! The court accepts this into evidence. Magnifi's second letter added to the court record. This is most unusual. Exactly what was going on with you folks? What exactly was your troop Gramarye up to? By which you mean? I'm just having trouble envisioning a man who would ask his students to kill him. Both of them, no less. Except for the girl, who apparently is irrelevant. Logically, in this universe, yeah, this is pretty crazy shit. It's just my opinion, Herr Judge. But from these letters, I'd say he was coercing them, not asking them. We walked the magician's path together, and in so doing, shared much of our lives. When people are so close, there was a strain. A warping of relations, you might say. Yet this has nothing to do with the case at hand. By which you mean you're not going to tell us. Makes me wonder even more about this reason they couldn't refuse. Well, let's get on with the testimony for starters. The defendant, Zach Gramarye, stands accused. Tell us why. Oh, I'll do more than that. For where he walks, the red roses rise, singing hymns to the miracle that is magic. Fascinating. Oh, I hardly need to remind you that the evidence could just as clearly point to you as the suspect. The letter, the murder weapon, and now the 2 bullets found at the scene. In fact, the only difference seems to be the designated time. Ha 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 ha! As every magician knows, timing is everything. I still also think Valiant has gorgeous hair if you see it from the back. Oh, it's nice, yeah. Yes. And now it's time to get this party fired up. Alright, much as I would like to continue, I am feeling the call of Oblivion. And therefore, I must stop. For now. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Airhead, your favorite VTuber Android. My next stream, actually I'll probably have to do this so I can progress. Yep, anyway. My next stream will be sometime this week. Keep an eye out for my schedule tomorrow, and have a lovely morning, day, or evening, and goodbye for now.